Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to yet another Destiny 2 video, and today I'm going to be showing you an easy method and a full guide and walkthrough of the entire prestigious version of the Nightfall. Now for those of you who don't know, today is reset day, which means you can actually go out and complete the brand new Nightfall strike, and this week it's on Inverted Spire. For those of you who are high enough power level, you might want to attempt the prestigious version. Mind you, it is extremely difficult, but the rewards in my opinion are very much worth it. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you do, if it helps you in any way, shape, or form, a like would be very much appreciated. So starting off here, the first thing you want to do is hop on your Sparrow and go directly towards all the enemies at the end here where I'm currently located, and you want to basically clear everybody as quick as possible. It's going to be void in the very beginning, so just mind that. Next up, you want to make sure that you're near this console right here and interact with it as soon as possible. Once you do that, the bridges and platforms will start forming. You're going to want to pull out your Sparrow for this part because it's actually a lot quicker than running. So pull out your Sparrow, be very careful, take your time on it, and just simply go through it at your own pace. It's worth mentioning that as you go through this strike, Prism is one of the active modifiers, which means burn damages will rotate every 30 seconds, and then of course you spawn in at the Nightfall with only 7 minutes on the clock. Killing enemies will not give you more time. The only way to get time is by jumping through hoops, which I'll demonstrate in just a second. Once you get to this part right here, you want to just run by all of the enemies. There really isn't any point wasting 30 seconds off the clock to kill all of these guys and risk dying. One thing I do recommend though is make sure you and your fire team are very close together when you're running up to this grav lift. You don't necessarily have to be running the exact same path, but make sure that you guys are evenly spaced. That way the ads will not all focus on one guy. I'm going to go ahead and speed up this part right here because this is just basically me running to the next part, and this is just going to take up time in the video, and I definitely don't want that to happen. So as you can see, here's the next encounter. You want to take out all of these scions, and that hoop right there is the first hoop that's going to activate all the others. Now do not jump through it until you are ready, because once you hop through the first loop, you are basically activating all the others, and they are on a timer. I believe after 30 seconds they will disappear, so you have to get as many as quickly as possible. Now make sure one of your fire team members goes onto this right path that I took. Make sure one person goes down the middle and one on the left hand side. It's very difficult to stay alive, so you do have to clear a few of the ads before you're ready to go, but the most important thing is that you can get all of those hoops, and to do so you want to clear out an amount of ads that's comfortable for you and your fire team. Once you and your fire team are done jumping through all of the Vex hoops, what you want to do is jump up back up top and go over to this rock right here. Now I like this rock for two reasons. Number one, it's actually very close to the enemies, so you can do a lot of damage with weapons that don't have that much range, and secondly, it provides good cover. Now I died in that spot because I was just simply way too aggressive, but if you play it smart, slow, and steady, you'll be able to take out enemies very easily. Now again, just a second here, I'm going to push up way too aggressively, so this is some footage right here, and basically do not do this. I was way too aggressive. These bosses were absolute tanks. I had a merciless with solar burn, and it still took me 3 shots of the fusion rifle to kill him. So that just goes to show you these ads are seriously not joking around, and you really have to take your time with them, because you have to remember you did just gain 2.5 to 3 minutes back on your clock, and then in the very next encounter you're also going to be able to get more time back. So again, take it very slow and steady, and then once you clear out the ads, then you can start rushing and sprinting to the next part of this Nightfall. Now I am speeding up the gameplay of us jumping onto these platforms because honestly this is something that doesn't really need that much explaining, and I'm sure you guys can follow just by watching the video. Once you land over here, make sure to pull out your Sparrow. That'll save you a ton of time, and then have one guy go to the left and then 2 over on this right hand side. You then want to go past all of the enemies there initially and go into this ditch right here that's very close to a lot of the ads you're supposed to kill. Take out these snipers up top because they are the ones that are going to give you the biggest headache out of everyone in this area. Now myself, I had the role of basically taking out one of the captains in here. Now I don't believe his name is a captain, it is actually an officer, I apologize, but what you want to do is just help out some of your teammates here, take out some of the ads in the middle, and again, as you can see, there is the hoop in the middle. We do not activate that hoop until we are done taking out a good amount of enemies. The reason being is because if we activate that hoop, we'll only have 30 seconds to do basically the entire path and go through all of those hoops, which just is not feasible because there's so many enemies on the map that would basically just one-shot us and cause us to die. Then the hoops would go away and we would not get our time back. So as you can see, I popped the super to kill the very first officer. That is very important. You're gonna have one player on your team do that because that just makes the whole process of this phase a lot quicker. And at this moment in time, I believe my friend Grim actually hopped through the very first hoop. He decided that we cleared enough ads to basically speed run past this part and pick up as many of these hoops as possible. Now take your time with these jumps. It's very important that you do not mess up and miss any of them. And fun little fact, you don't actually have to go through them 100% for them to activate. That last hoop that you guys just saw, I did not go through it and it still counted. As long as you get the sound indication and also the visual indication that you went through it, then you are a-okay and you get 30 seconds back on the clock. Now as you can see, we were just at like 5 minutes and now we're back to 8.5 minutes. So that is pretty insane. I mean, you could just constantly do this, and I actually can't believe I made that one right there. That was pretty awesome. I felt kind of like a god right there. But anyway, so we got 9.5 minutes right there on the clock. Plenty of time to complete the rest of the strike, and we're not even done. There's going to be more phases where you get to actually gain your time back. So again, slow and steady wins the race in this strike. Just make sure you do not die too much. Now once you're cleared of all of the time hoops, what you want to do is, as a fire team, take out the second officer in this building right here. He's going to be a pain in the ass if you do not have the right burns, so make sure to team shot him, and once you do that, you can then proceed. I'm going to be speeding up this part as well because you simply just have to run by the ads, interact with that machine, and that'll then turn on the thruster that'll boost you across the map. Now these enemies will be here. There's about 5 of them, and there will be a barrel on the right hand side. Make sure to shoot the yellow barrel and that will make all of them explode, and you really won't have to waste too much time or any bullets. Now I'm not gonna lie, this part down here is an absolute mess. It is absolutely cluttered. There's enemies all over the place. It's hectic, and it's honestly a lot of fun as well. Now expect to go down here maybe once or twice. I personally went down here, my buddy went down here. It was pretty chaotic, so just expect that going into it. And there's just so many enemies. Now the good thing is that the one person who killed the captain, which was me in this specific gameplay, he will of course have lost his super, but your 2 other teammates should have kept their super depending on whether or not they used it. They probably shouldn't have used it any other time in the raid other than this part right here. As soon as it's arc, make sure the guy who's arc, whether it be a pole dancer or a stormcaller, or if somebody on your team has a dawn blade, whatever the case may be, make sure one of your fire team members is using their super here. Now in our case, we had a stormcaller just go out and clear all of these dogs, and then as soon as it says 100%, you want to just instantly get the hell out of there before any more ads spawn, and you'll be grav lifted over to this side. Now what do we do here? Well, you guessed it, you speed run once again. So let's go ahead and speed up the footage once again and make it over to the other side. Now coming up here, we have one of the most I would say difficult parts of this strike because it involves a lot of things. Now, not only do the ads do a ton of damage to you, but you also have to keep in mind that you have to jump through the Vex hoops to get time, and at the same exact time, there's going to be those drill bits coming at you from every single angle on different levels, so you really have to be careful because this part may cause you and your fire team to wipe a few times. Now, here's where the real strategy comes into play. Once you and your fire team get most of the time Vex portals here, you can simply just run through to the next part. Do not bother reviving your teammates because once you get to the first part of the boss phase, it'll actually teleport both other fire team members to that specific boss phase. So if they can't make it, if they're dying, you leave them alone and you keep going. As long as one fire team member makes it towards the end, everyone else will get teleported. So that's one important thing that I thought you guys should absolutely know. So as you can see, me and my fire team just got teleported here based on one of my fire team members speed running through the drill bits part and making it to the final boss. This floor is extremely easy. Please do not use a super or a power weapon unless you're absolutely forced to, but again, I would at that point just wait out the spawn timer. Do not use your good stuff here because you're going to need that for the very last floor, as that becomes extremely challenging. So as you can see, I'm kind of on ad duty right now while my teammates are are just peppering the boss with some primary shots and some secondary shots. You want to make sure not to use any of your heavy stuff here because, like I said, you're desperately going to need it in a second. So it didn't really take much for us to make the boss go to the second floor. As you can see, we're dropping down right now, and this is where it gets a little bit more challenging, but again, it's very manageable. What I did was I put 3 shots of my Merciless into the boss just to give us a little bit of firepower and just to catch up on some damage just in case we were behind. As you can see, he has this very strange mechanic where he'll actually shoot you up in the sky if you do stay on the floor with your feet while the floor is on lava. So make sure that you're in the air constantly jumping while the floor is red, or he'll boost you up like that, and that can cause you to die very easily. So right here, I speed up the footage. My teammates were just shooting the boss again with a primary and with a secondary, and I decided to use my sentinel just to make some orbs for my teammates. My super is of course a close range super, so I could not use that on the last floor, and that is why I wasted it right there on ads to make orbs. So finally, we are on the last floor, and this is where things get extremely difficult. What you want to do is do as much damage to him with your primary and secondary weapons until he gets to 1/3 health. Do not go past that. Do not enrage him, and you'll know when you enrage him because his head will actually come off and his crit spot will be in his belly. So do not get to that point until the energy, or I should say the damage type, is in your favor. And what I mean by that is if you're doing a lot of solar damage to him, wait for it to be solar, then you can unload with absolutely everything you have once he's at 1/3 health. As you can see, I went down here and solar just activated. My buddy has a golden gun, and I myself have the Merciless, so we ended up doing damage to him right here, and we just nearly about killed him. As you can see, his health is just absolutely getting peeled right off. But if you do not get him right here, don't worry. You have a lot of time on the clock, and you'll be able to get him with a lot of other shots. Now, I want to make myself extremely clear. Normally, you guys would take him from 1/3 health all the way down to 0 in a single DPS phase if all your fire team members are shooting at him. In our specific scenario, we actually had a miscommunication, and one of our fire team members didn't actually shoot a single shot at the boss. This, of course, caused us to not kill him, and he does have a little bit of health left. Now, this could very well happen to a lot of you guys, so I thought I'd show you exactly what we do in this worst case scenario. So he's got about 5%, maybe 6-7% left of his health, and the ads are just totally chaotic and kill you as soon as you spawn up. Well, what do? Well, if you were following the instructions of the video, you should have about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 or 6 minutes left on the clock, and at this point you simply have to spawn in, do as much damage as you can to him, die, and rinse and repeat. It's really that easy, guys. When he has this little health, just use the burn that it currently is and just pepper him down with shots, and you'll be able to see his health dwindle down very quickly until he's dead. Thank you guys very much for watching, though. I very much do appreciate it. If you enjoyed, definitely drop a like as it supports the channel. Subscribe for more daily Destiny 2 content. Have a great day, and I'll see you all later. Peace.